Hey Alpha fam, welcome back to another episode of Alpha Commission. Today on Alpha Commission, we're just going to briefly do a 5-minute overview of a Bitcoin since something quite extraordinary happened today. We did have a major breakout, and that's why I'm a little bit late in putting out this video because I was waiting to see how price would react at that key level. And guys, as you can see, we have a lot of green on the charts today thanks to this type of front running by a lot of these altcoins towards the Bitcoin price. And if we look at the stock market, of course, that's reflected in the stock market as well. And both Bitcoin and the stock market and crypto has been very bullish as the dollar has been pulling back. So not to use too much of our time here, let's quickly jump to the charts. And just from a price action perspective, what we can see is that we did have this basically 6 months long downtrend. Depends where you're starting it from, but that was slightly different than our 1 year downtrend, which of course we had defeated a couple weeks ago. But this one just is no longer relevant, and so what we're really dealing with is the shorter second boss, which is that blue line that I've been pointing out. And of course, we've just been getting rejected, 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 from this line. And are we going to be getting rejected again, or are we going to be able to push through it? Well, that remains to be seen. I'd like to have us put in a couple 4-hour candles at a minimum because of how long this downtrend is. I'd love to see a daily candle close outside of that downtrend before I really think that it's been busted. But the preview, Alpha Fam, is that we have in fact broken that downtrend, and now that we've punctured a hole in it, probably in a even if we do get rejected, maybe another try could just push through. So this does give some optimism to the crypto market, and you can see it as some coins are just pumping. Guys, we also have this critical yellow level right here, which I went into significantly more detail in the previous episode. So if you do want to just check out the really long episode about Bitcoin that I made previously, please do check that out. But just for the time being, just accept that that is a very significant level, somewhere around 19,000. 19,880-ish, just call it the 19,900. And then, we really need to get above that line and probably above 20,000 just to have some type of a bullish perspective, in which case we can perhaps talk about some higher numbers once we beat that kind of, let's just call it a third boss, right? So we're beating the second boss here, and now we have a third boss. And of course, that stretches all the way back to this resistance back here, which was kind of cock blocking us before we had our just a massive run up on our bull run. And then, of course, that was related to our previous all-time high. So these numbers are not insignificant. It is important that we do defeat 19,900, at least on this Coinbase chart. Some charts may differ by a few bucks, but basically 19,900. So that's your just kind of structural price action perspective. You can see that we have made a higher low here, but we have not yet made a higher high. And the only way that we're going to make a higher high on this 4-hour time frame, right, is if in fact we do get above that yellow line. So that's just the added confluence that we really do need to kill that third boss in order to have some type of a bullishness, and then you're going to have a clear a clear 4-hour uptrend, which can very easily lead into a daily uptrend. Guys, let's go ahead and jump over to our EMAs and just see what we're printing here. As you can see, we are facing a pretty stiff resistance from the 200 EMA on the 4-hour, where although we can get above it, usually we end up falling back in this macro downtrend that we've been in. And so just we're kind of like hop and skipping along the bottom of that 200 on the 4 hour. The good news is this curve is softening, and so from both a structural perspective and from a EMA's perspective, we are having the chance to potentially squeeze to the upside. And usually squeezes to the upside do come a little bit faster than most of these softenings to the downside. And so this first half of this fall down here, as soon as we reach a certain critical point, it could actually come quite quickly that we end up getting squeezed to the upside. What does that look like on the daily? Of course, on the daily you can see that we do have this squeeze play. We actually had that daily squeeze play yesterday that I was talking about, and then we did just pop up to the next EMA here, and it looks like the yellow line is our 50 EMA. So again, like from where we are to that yellow line is a good target if you guys are just trading these type of squeezes. And then from there, who knows, maybe even the 89 at the 21,000. But again, we'll deal with the yellow line once we break out of that. The key thing is, can we hold above this blue resistance zone up here that we've just had for 6 months, and can we put a couple 4-hour candles and preferably close a daily candle outside of it, or even better on top of it, right? So that we're cleanly outside of it, not just halfway outside of it. Guys, let's go ahead and take a look at our volatility, because we do want to note that our volatility on the day is screaming again. And so while we have had several volatility flips, these have been just massive fake outs, right? And so we've seen just price action just going like up and down and up and down and up and down. And so, guys, that's been kind of a roller coaster that we've been on. And so now that we're looking at, our volatility just, from a breakout perspective, this was kind of the war to try to break out. And now we're coming back to a clean signal. Now the question is this going to be a rejection signal, or is it going to be a breakout signal? Well, that hasn't been determined yet. We are largely controlled by the dollar, and so again, guys, like just because this volatility is screaming on the daily, it doesn't mean that it has to scream to the upside. It could still just be a total fake out and end up screaming to the downside, as volatility is direction neutral. If we look at the 2-day, however, the 2-day has just been screaming the whole time that we've basically been finding some type of low on this market. And so the 2-day is suggesting that volatility is pointed to the upside. So let's find out, okay? I mean, this one could fake us out also, but so far it's looking pretty good for a bullish trend. If we go to the 4-hour, you can see that we are coming to the close of that type of expansion. And so this is just a pinching off into some type of a new type of a volatility. It may end up being continuation, or it could turn around. And so we're also going to keep our eye on the 4-hour just to see what it's doing. But guys, this is looking pretty good as long as we can get above that 4-hour 200, as long as we can sit above that macro downtrend. Going over to momentum, let's just go ahead and throw on my good old momentum pools, and we can turn off this second boss of ours over here. And of course, the momentum pools are going to tell us like what type of a range we can move in without having too much fear. And so yesterday I was suggesting to you, and we were in the middle of this momentum zone when I made that video. We were right here. I said we need to get on top of the momentum zone. If we can get on top of that momentum zone, have a nice close there, we're gonna have a nice pop to the upside, right? And look what happened. According to my momentum zone, we just got above it, we retested it, and pop, guys! Like this thing just went off. And so, guys, like these momentum zones, really, guys, they're no joke. So pay attention to these momentum zones. Otherwise, we could have come as low as this area and just swam around. But what did I tell you? That as long as the white box is underneath the blue box, that's a good sign. That suggests that the wind is at our back, pushing us forward. And so that's the kind of extra boost that we saw today. Now, of course, these ones ones are expired, so I do have to update my momentum zones for a fresh day. And so this is what we're dealing with right now. And the good thing is that we are starting our momentum, above that zone. But of course, the day isn't even nearly complete. So it's always good to start the day above your momentum zone. If we do end up falling back inside of it, today we actually have a very large pool to swim around in. So this momentum pool is quite deep. However, the 2 to 5 day projection, right? That's what the white box is. The blue one is a daily, but the white box is my 2 to 5 day calculated projection. The 2 to 5 day is saying, nope, we really have to hold on to 19,550 dollars, guys. Like, we can't lose that level, and that would make sense if you take into consideration our second boss, right? And so look, my momentum pool is telling me, just using a totally different method, right? My momentum pool is telling me that we do have to hold that 19,550. And so again, guys, I just want to prove to you that these momentum pools that I'm assigning here, this method that I'm developing, is no joke. It's the real deal. And so, yes, this does suggest bullishness. If we fall back into this momentum pool, we will have a second chance on the daily, but we are very time limited, and the 2 to 5 day is acting like a ticking time bomb. Like, you got to get back above us, like within the next 24 hours, or we're just going to leave you behind, and probably momentum is going to shift to the downside. That is what my momentum boxes are telling us. Now, guys, I did, of course, give us some signals here. And so, as you can see, as we got ahead of that, a previous level where we were actually below the bullish bias when I gave yesterday's momentum boxes, we did acquire the bullish bias. And then what happened? We just skyrocketed, right? And so, guys, like, these signals that I'm giving you aren't a joke either. Of course, every day can start fresh. You don't know if you're going to go up or down, but in this case, we were able to at least navigate to the bullish bias, and then also on top of the momentum zone. And so from a momentum perspective, this was a really great thing. Now, guys, of course, I do have to update my signals, and to do that, I use three kinds of momentum. So let's just take a look at what we've got going over here. And I think because the daily volatility is just screaming so much to the upside, as well as the 2 day, I am going to lean heavy towards those areas. So first of all, I cannot ignore this 2 to 5 day projection. It's just screaming at me. We're gonna have to set this one as 19,550. And so if you want to be bullish, we do have to keep above that level. And then, of course, guys, we have this basically the third boss, I'm calling it, up here. And so let's turn on my weekly EMAs just to see where our 9 weekly is. It's actually above that level. So in order to be really ultra bullish, uber bullish, I want to see us above the 9 weekly EMA. So this one does get upgraded to 20,025. That's going to be the key level I need to be at to start feeling kind of macro bullish, to get those really huge moves, right? And then, however, for just a bullishness and some type of like day-to-day trading, then of course my bullish level works just fine. Guys, of course, to be bearish, I am going to be bearish if we do lose our daily momentum. And so that one is telling me that perhaps this level down here is a pretty significant at around 19,200. And then let's go ahead and take a look at these white lines. Yeah, and for the 2 day, I really can't lose that 2 day momentum. We do have some 1 day momentum here. I'm going to be very worried if we lose that as well. So, but I've already got my bearish bias up here a little bit above that, so I think that I can move the very bearish down to just over that level. So let's say 18,800. And actually, bearish bias should be on top of these momentums. So bearish below 19,220, and then very bearish underneath 18,800. Let's go ahead and check out my green momentum over here, and basically, let's see here. Wow, they all align right here. All of them except for the 7-day. That's incredible. They all align at that level. That's incredible. Okay, guys. So this is just the clearest reading I've ever had on these on this strategy so far, which is that we really, really need to hold 19,000. 550. Just everything agrees with it. And of course, these levels I'm just calculating, so that's not an indicator or anything. And of course, this is my EMAs there. So guys, there you have it. There are your key levels to watch, your key price levels. And so for the next 24 hours, and probably actually for the week, this is probably going to hold true. So just to make a short, sweet episode, that was your alpha for the day. Stay safe and happy trading.